Hey guys, Caleb Giddings here, and today we're doing a review of a new gun that's not really new because it's based on an old gun, but it's an interesting gun because it's a type of handgun that I really like, namely a double action, single action, semi-automatic pistol chambered in 9mm that has a metal frame. Today, we're talking about the Lionheart Regulus. This actually isn't the first Lionheart pistol that I've interacted with. I had one of the OG Lionheart import pistols back in probably 2013, 2014, I think was when they first started hitting the US market. I could look back at old reviews and tell you, but since that time, they've gone through a few iterations and some upgrades to give you the current model, the Regulus, which I will state right up front at the top of this review, I like. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Lionheart as a manufacturer slash importer, but primarily manufacturer. The Lionheart pistol designs, the Regulus, are based on the old Daewoo pistol designs. The Daewoo was sort of a product improved third generation Smith, if I can draw a very broad, so we're going to paint with a real broad brush on that one. And it was, for a time, the standard issue sidearm for the South Korean military. I actually know some stuff about those guys, but for the most part, it was their standard issue 9mm pistol. The Regulus guns, at least the one in my hand, is stamped Renton, Washington, and this particular one has a fairly low serial number, so they are at the very least assembled here in the United States, because that's where the stamp is from. Let's talk about the gun itself and the features on it that I like. We're just going to kind of go do a tip to tail bit here. So starting up front, you have an accessory rail. This is great, and here's why this rail is great. It's a standard 1913 rail, and it obviates the need to go look for holsters, which that's actually a critique of this gun, is it's hard to find holsters. But because it has this rail on it, you can put a TLR1 on it or an X300 and use the Filster floodlight for a concealment holster or for an outside the waistband holster. You can use the Blackhawk Omnivores for a retention holster, because all of those holsters are designed to retain the gun off the light. So it's got a rail, which means you've got holsters for it, and that's nice, because without the rail, holsters for this are a little bit difficult to find. Now, moving on, sights. Fiber optic front sight, blacked out rear sight. This is the way it should be. I don't need a bunch of dots or silly nonsense cluttering up my rear sight picture. Just give me a fiber front and blacked out rears. It's fantastic. That's all I want in the world. Grips. Grips are nice. Lots of traction on the grips, and this part actually has traction on it as well, which is good because that's how the gun fits into my hand. And it actually has gripping surface up here, which is nice because when I put my master grip together, that's where I want my hands to go. Safety. It has a thumb safety on it. You could theoretically carry this gun cocked and locked, though why you would is beyond me, because we're going to talk about this gun's cool party trick now. And this gun's cool party trick is that, yes, it is technically a double action, single action gun. However, it has a third mode of fire called double action plus. So in double action, you have a normal DA trigger pull that, hang on, yeah, it's fine, all right? You have a normal DA trigger pull, it's like 12, 13 pounds. I could get my gauge out and measure it, doesn't matter. Then you have your single action trigger pull, which is about 4 pounds, which I did actually measure. That's awesome. Then you have what's cool, all right? So let's say I got my gun out and this is an empty mag, load my gun. All right, now I got a round in the chamber, right? And I want to decock the gun. There's no decocker on here. It's not a Beretta 92 or a SIG. How do I decock it? I could press the trigger and pinch the hammer forward, but that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Even when I've done it 1,000 times on USPSA competition guns, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Thankfully, we have double action plus. That's it. You push the hammer forward, and now the hammer is down. And this trigger pull is now not as heavy as the standard trigger pull, but it has a much longer length of pull than the single action pull. And it's actually about 2 pounds heavier. So it's like 6.5-ish pounds, and you just rip right through it, and then the gun's fully decocked now. But obviously you wouldn't do that with a round in the chamber unless you're trying to shoot, because you make the gun go off. So round in the chamber, hammer's back, push it forward, gun is decocked. This is the condition that I would carry this gun in because I still have all of the advantages of a DA trigger pull, and so longer trigger pull, less likely to negligently discharge, blah, 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 with the blah, 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 all of those fun things. But it's also, look at this. It's also a really good trigger pull now. Like, it's fantastic. And then in single action mode, it's, really easy to shoot as well. We're going to cut to the range and I'll show you. I'm going to run some bill drills, run some transition drills, just really rip this gun. There's a mag in my pocket somewhere. It's easy to shoot, and honestly, it's easy to shoot well. I shot a bunch of groups with it as well. It's accurate. It is just as accurate as you would expect any modern handgun to be, and maybe a little bit more so. And I'm going to say that's because it's made out of metal. And I really do like guns that are made out of metal. I know everybody's on the polymer train these days and blah, but I don't know. There's something about a double action, single action, 9mm handgun that's made out of, metal that I really like. So, look, here's the deal. I like the Regulus, all right? I liked the original Lionheart, and I think the Regulus is a significant enough upgrade to it that it's actually worth taking a look at, most importantly because of this accessory rail, which, again, eliminates the holster problems that you had with the original gun because you can just put a TLR1 on here, and as I've said, throw it in a Filster Floodlight, throw it in a Blackhawk Omnivore, you're all set. You're good. You don't need to shop around and try to find a holster. TLR1, Floodlight, done. End of your problems, right? There's one other thing I like, and then we're going to get to the thing I don't like. The other thing I like, and this is kind of nice, I've got, 100 gajillion guns for review in my life, right? And this came in a nice little case, and there's cleaning brush in there, and a wrenchy guy, and a bike lock, because everybody's got to put the bike lock in here, I guess. It's a nice case. The presentation is good, and there's really only two things I don't like about the Lionheart Regulus. And the first is that it's not RDO ready. All right, hey man, it's 2022. Guns need to come, pistols should come RDO ready at this point. And I'm sure I can email my homies at Lionheart and be like, are you guys working on a solution for this? And they'd probably say yes. And I'm sure that there are dovetail mounts that interface with this Novak rear sight and will drop right into that. But I don't like dovetail mounts. I want a plate. I want a C&H plate that goes in here and chunks right over the top of this. And then I can put a SRO on it or whatever and just, be all set. That would be nice. So I don't like that. And that leads me to the last thing about it that I don't like. And that's the price. It's like $1,000. And it's not like $1,000. The bare minimum MSRP for this gun, the Lionheart Regulus Alpha, is $1,000, $999. And that's, with the sights that I prefer, not tritium sights. If you get tritium sights, it's more. You can get it with a threaded barrel, and it's more. They do make a compact, but this gun's small enough in terms of form factor. I wouldn't go with the compact. I'd go with this. And I like it. I really, really do. I wish it was red dot ready, but most importantly, I wish it wasn't $999. And the problem with it being $999 is $1,000 is a lot to ask somebody to invest in a gun that isn't legal for I guess it's technically legal for IDPA's ESP division, and you could shoot it in limited minor in USPSA, but it's not on the USPSA production list, which sucks. If it was, that would be cool. And it's And because it's not red dot ready, you're going to have a lot of people who are like, why should I spend $900 on this versus, $1,500 on, or $1,000 on whatever tactical super awesome version of the SIG P320 is out there, which has loads and loads of aftermarket support and holsters and mags and is legal to shoot in your shooting games and all of that. And I don't have a good answer for you, is the problem. I can't tell you why you should spend $900 on the Lionheart instead of spending, $700 on 92 series and upgrading it, because this is sort of the gun I see as the natural competitor to the Lionheart, right? It doesn't have a dot solution. Well, it does, but the factory Beretta dot is what it is. And then the Langdon upgrade, which I've got one of those, is expensive, but I really like the Lionheart. I think it's cool. I love the DA Plus system. I think it's interesting. But the problem that I have with the Lionheart is there's nothing that gun does for me that I can't do just as well, if not better, with an M9 or a Beretta 92. This gun's metal. It's got okay sights. It doesn't have a fiber optic front sight. That'd be cool if it did. But it's got a decocker instead of a DA Plus. And if you put a Langdon trigger kit in this, the double action on this is so good that you don't need a DA Plus system. So, yeah, it's tough, right? But I like the Regulus. Make no mistake, I like this gun a lot. I really, really do. And I think it's one of those guns where if you've got $1,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you don't know what to spend it on, get this. You'll have fun shooting it because it's a 9mm and it's fun and it's like not too heavy. You could carry it. You could do a lot of cool stuff with this gun. It's a good gun. There's nothing wrong with it. I just wish it wasn't $1,000. And I don't want to end this review by saying there's a good gun and there's nothing wrong with it, but I wish it wasn't so expensive. But that's kind of where this review has to end, because it is a good gun. It's accurate. It's reliable. It's nice to shoot. It's got good sights. The DA Plus system is like South Korean LEM or, whatever law enforcement double action trigger module you like, and it works really, really good. You get a really sick trigger pull, and then the gun resets, and then you've got a really nice single action pull. Like, everything about it is good. It's all of the other things. It's the lack of aftermarket and, the fact that you can buy a Beretta for $700 and the Beretta does everything better. I don't know what to tell you guys. If you got $1,000 buy one. It's worth it you know what? I will tell you this. If it was $750, I would unhesitatingly tell you guys to go out and buy one of these. No question in my mind. If you could go to your local gun store tomorrow and plop down 750 cold hard bucks in cash, or, whatever Bitcoin you guys are using to buy things with these days, I would 100% unhesitatingly tell you to go buy one. But it's $1,000. Anyway, that's it. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching.